Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we will discuss about coastal regulation zone and coastal zone management plan. First of all, we have to understand why is there a need to protect and conserve coastal areas. The first need is because of increasing pressure of urbanization, we need more land, and there is a increasing land use push toward coastal areas. So, like this is a sea, and this is the coastal area here. This is the coastal area, and here is an urban center. With time, this urban center will expand and people will demand more land, and the government and authorities have to allocate land towards the coastal areas. The second problem is the increasing sea level and coastal inundation in in Indian subcontinent and also in various part of the world. And because of this, we have to secure the welfare of coastal communities and particularly the fishermen communities. The fourth and the foremost need is the protection of coastal ecology and maintain the fragile balance in coastal areas. We know that the coastal areas harbor various species like mangroves, corals, and other various marine organisms. We also have to protect them. Now, because of all these things, government brought with a plan. uh, we call it a coastal zone management plan in 2019. So through a notification, government brought up with this plan, and this plan was prepared as per the recommendation of a committee named Salish, Dr. Salish Naik committee. A committee was set up for that purpose. Now, firstly, let's take a look on what is high tide line and what is low tide line. So, in this image, you can see that this is the high tide line and this is the low tide line. So, we will denote it with LTD and this one with HTD. So, LTD is basically the lowest elevation of water level during low tide. So, in this picture, you can see that this is the situation of low tide, and the seawater is confined to only this area. So, this is the low tide line, and high tide line is basically the maximum elevation of water level in case of high tide. And this transition zone is what we call intertidal area or intertidal zone. So this is an area which is subjected to frequent inundation of seawater. Right. Now let's proceed further. So basically, government under this notification of 2019, government categorized all coastal regulated areas into four zonation. We will discuss every zone one by one. So first, let's take a look on CRZ 1. This has been subcategorized under CRZ 1A and CRZ 1B. So see, under CRZ 1A, the areas under this comes sensitive, all the sensitive coastal areas comes under this category. Uh, those areas which are ecologically sensitive areas like mangroves, patches, and coral areas comes under this category. So let's look and mark this area under a diagram. So this is a schematic diagram for all regulated coastal areas. So under this, you can see this green patch. This green patch is basically representative of mangrove patches. So all these areas, all these patches are mangrove patches, and all these green areas are under CRZ, under CRZ 1. Now, apart from this green area, you can see this yellow envelope. So this yellow strip is of 50-meter extra buffer, and this provides an extra protection to this CRZ 1A area. Now let's move on the second category, CRZ 1B. This is intertidal zone. We we have already discussed what is intertidal zone. So under this diagram, all the areas with gray color, you can see in both side, in left side and also in right side. So this gray areas is intertidal zone, and this blue line is your low tide line, and this green line is high tide line. So areas which fall under this between these uh, two lines is intertidal zone. So this is intertidal zone. So this is transition areas which gets frequently flooded by seawater. Now we will discuss the CRZ second category. Under CRZ second, development land areas, those areas which comes under any municipality and urban center, we put those areas under this category. So those area which have which which already have been inhabited by people. So this olive color area is CRZ 2 area. So those urban center which has already been inhabited by people and which share its coast with sea, those areas come under this category. So let's see, this is an urban center and a coastal road has been constructed along this coastline, and this construction has already been taken before the notification of 2019. So the rule under this notification is that no development shall be allowed seaward side of this coastal road. You can develop, you can approve new projects toward landward side in this side, but you cannot approve, the government will not approve any new projects towards seaward side of this coastal road. So this road will basically act like a boundary for non-development, right? Now the CRZ, we will discuss CRZ third category. So there are two subcategories A and B in this also. Under CRZ 3, this category is used for those areas which are less inhabited, rural areas, and which share coastal boundary with sea. So let's suppose that this is our sea, and there is an area here, and this coastal community is basically a rural community, and this rural area which has very low population density, this area may also share its border with the sea. So this type of area with low population density, which are not very urban in its nature, comes under CRZ 3 category. Now, based on population density, this CRZ 3 has also been subcategorized into two parts, A and B. We will see it in this diagram. So you can see two areas here differentiated on the basis of population density, this area and this area. This blue line is basically census village boundary line. We will use census of 2011 for this demarcation. On the left side of this blue line, we have area CRZ 3A. So those rural areas which, which have population density more than 2161 per square kilometer will be placed in this category. And for this category, there is a 50-meter no development zone has been demarcated. So, so say from this high tide line, this blue line is this red line is representing your high tide line. From this high tide line, 50-meter towards landward area is no development zone. So this green strip is your no development zone, and in this no development zone, uh, no heavy project is allowed here. Like you cannot set a very heavy industrial unit here, and you cannot do mining here, right? But some kind of conventional practices like generating renewable energy, installing solar panels, and if the village communities indulge in a salt making process, so these kind of activities are allowed here. Beyond this 50-meter, from 50-meter to 500-meter towards landward side, the area comes under CRZ 3A, and under this category, usual settlement is allowed but with some restrictions. In the right side of this blue line, we have area under CRZ 3B notification. This is also a rural area, but this rural area has population density less than 2161 square kilometer. Under this category, you can see here the yellow strip is very broad here. So from high tide line to 200-meter towards landward, toward landward side, we have no development zone, right? And beyond this line, from 200 to 500-meter, we have CRZ 3B. Usual settlement is allowed with some restrictions in this area also. Now let's move on CRZ fourth category. So this category has also been subcategorized in A and B. So under CRZ 6A, those area will come which remain inundated with water year round, and the water area and the seabed areas between low tide line to 12 nautical miles comes under this category. So in this diagram, this blue, this all the blue area is basically representing your CRZ 4A. So from this low tide line, this blue line, to 12 nautical miles seaward side, we have CRZ 4A. Now we will discuss about CRZ 4B. So in this, uh, this will contain or comprises of area. This water area, this is basically water area and the bed area between low tide line at the bank of the tidal influence water body. So tidal influenced water body is basically those water body which influences with the tidal fluctuations. So let's see, you will understand this with this diagram in a better way. So this blue stretch of water body is basically a rivulet here. So this is a rivulet, and which is under the influence of tide. This rivulet is merging here in the sea, and this is its mouth. So from this mouth towards hinterland up to the marking where we find salinity up to 5 ppt. We know that 1 ppt is basically 1 gram solid dissolving 1000 gram of liquid. So 5 ppt means 5, the salinity of 5 ppt means that if you dissolve 1 gram of salt into 1000 gram of seawater, this concentration will be called 5 ppt. So up to this mount towards the toward the hinterland side, up to the marking where we find the salinity up to 5 ppt, this will come under the CRZ 4B category. And for this rivulet also, from this red line in a high tide line, from this high tide lines toward 50 meter towards landward side, we have this yellow strip, and this is no development zone for this area. So basically CRZ 4B category is for rivulet creeks or tidal river. Like if you take an example, like the Hooghly River is a tidal river. Thane Creek in the Mumbai. In Mumbai, we have Thane Creek. So for that creek also, this CRZ 4B regulation will be applied. So that creeks, that rivers, that tidal influenced water, any water body, that will be placed here in CRZ 4B category. Now, there is separate category under this 2019 notification that has been made for island. So for island, from high tide line, to 20-meter island side, the no development zone has been demarcated. So under this picture, you can see this yellow, that this yellow strip, it's surrounding this island. So this yellow strip is basically no development zone for this island. So we have discussed all these uh, categories, all the regulated coastal areas and all the categories. Now let's check how to check which areas under which category. There is a portal for this, and we will discuss it. So if you want to check that which area will come under which category, so this is a portal developed by National Coastal Zone Management Authority, and under this you can tap on the mark of any state. So let's check for Maharashtra. So a new side window will be opened here, and under this the areas has been shown under this grid. So select any grid, like we select 50 number grid, and you will get information about this coastal area, that this grid falls under district Raigad and Taluka Mahasla, and this area is under the protection of Coastal Zone Management Authority. So you can check one by one for all the state, and every grid under this map is basically allocated for a separate coastal areas, for the protection of separate coastal areas. So that's it from my side about uh, coastal zonation and coastal regulation zones. So thank you.